Now we'll talk about synchronizing a narration sound and an animation. If you're following along, I'm working in 06_synchronizing_sound.fla in the Chapter 14 folder in the Exercise Files folder. Let's create a new layer by clicking the Insert Layer button and name the new layer Sound. Select the first keyframe of the sound layer and click and drag voice.aif from the library onto the stage. You may notice that the animation on the timeline is exactly the same length as the sound. This is because I already set this up. What we're going to talk about in this movie is how you can sync animation and sound and how to modify an animation to match a sound. Let's select the first keyframe of the sound layer, and in the Property Inspector, find the Sync drop-down and make sure it's set to Stream. That way, the sound will be synced with the animation, even if the person who's watching this cannot download all of the frames of animation in time to catch up with the sound. Using a streaming sound, you can click and drag the playhead to preview the sound. Over the summer, I took a trip to Utah and had a great time. When you can do that, it's really easy to sync an animation to sound. I'll continue scrubbing the playhead. I even ended up crawling through a cave. So using this technique, you can move frames and keyframes to match the sound. If it's difficult to see the waveform in your sound, you can actually make the frames bigger. At the very top right of the timeline, there's a button. It shows a down arrow and some lines. If you click that button, there are several different options for viewing the timeline. I'm going to select Large. Notice the timeline is a little bit bigger, and the sound in the timeline is a little bit easier to see. If you'd like the timeline to be even bigger, you can choose Preview or Preview in Context. I'll select Preview. Now it's very easy to see the waveform in the sound, and you even get a preview of the images on the stage. This way is the easiest way to sync animation and sound. Let's test the movie and preview what the animation looks like when it's synced with the sound. Over the summer, I took a trip to Utah and had a great time. I even ended up crawling through a cave, but it was worth it because the view was spectacular. On the drive home, I was already planning my trip back up there. I can't wait to go back. So using this technique, you can synchronize any sound and any animation.